Hello everyone and welcome back to the Sounds of You. I'm saxophonist Jamal Riley. So in today's video I'm going to be doing an alto saxophone tutorial over the song Lift Me Up by Rihanna. So this song is actually pretty sweet, pretty smooth. It just listening to it, it sounds very easy. Melodically it's not a whole bunch of jumps. Rhythmically it's a pretty good steady pace. As always, it's a slow song. But this song does have one major difficulty. That difficulty is that it's not in an easy key. In fact, the key is probably one of the most unfriendly keys you can play on the saxophone. So this song is actually in concert A, which is going to put us alto saxophone players in the key of, some would call it F sharp, some would call it G flat. So I'm going to be speaking in harmonically a lot in this song, okay? So it all depends upon your preference. To be honest with you, this is typically not a key that you learn in grade school, so you're not going to find this, at least not in the grade school books I've seen. You're not going to find this in like your essential elements, your standard of excellence, your Yamaha band student, all that kind of stuff. Now you may find it in like your specialty, specialty like if you want to get maybe like a pedagogy book strictly for saxophone players, or say like if there was one for flute players and clarinet players, sure, they would have those difficult keys in that particular instrument. But as far as in a band setting, you're not going to see that in a band setting. Now, orchestra will come across that, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, this is not a very saxophone-friendly key, okay? And actually, if you listen like guitar songs and stuff like that, you'll come across songs in keys like this. So why it's difficult is because if we look at it if we look at it from a sharp perspective, this song actually in the key of F sharp, this song has 6 sharps. But if we want to look at it in the key of G flat, the song has 6 flats. So, and both the sharp direction and the flat direction both contain, some pretty, some harmonics that we don't hear all the time. You know what I mean? So what I'm getting at now, me personally, if I was reading this, I would want to read this in G flat, because scholastically, I'm actually an oboe player. I've been playing saxophone longer, but when it came to my collegiate studies, my focus was actually the oboe and the bassoon, not the saxophone, ironically. But anyway, like I said, if I was reading this, I would want to read this in G flat. But as a saxophone players tend to like to think in terms of sharps. So that's the primary focus or lane that I'm going to be speaking in, as far as this key that we're in. Okay, so I'm going to be teaching this primarily in the key of F sharp. All right. So, but just for giggles, let's go over our F sharp or G flat scale. All right. So to be familiar with this, we got to be familiar with the scale before we even try to tackle this thing, because this song is pretty easy. This song is pretty good to us, but we gotta learn how to play the original key. All right, so here we go. This is our F sharp scale. Now F sharp major scale, we have F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. I know we want to call that B flat, but we need to call it A sharp. Okay, B natural, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp. Again, I know we want to call that F natural, but we need to call it E sharp. And then we got F sharp again. The reason why we want to stick to those names, because we're speaking diatonically. And when you're speaking diatonically, each letter name is represented once. So no matter what's a sharp or flat, you still got F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. You see what I'm saying? So none of those letter names are repeated. We're not going F sharp, G sharp, B flat, B natural, C sharp, E flat, F natural, F sharp. We're not doing that, okay? That would be musically incorrect. But I'll have it, maybe some scenarios may be written both ways to make sure you understand it. So we're gonna see. We need to remember that A sharp is B flat, okay? And we also need to remember that E sharp is F natural. All right, so just a little bit of preliminaries. Like I said, this song's pretty easy. Your highest note of this song is going to be, like I said, we're speaking in sharps. Our highest note of this song is going to be our high C sharp above the staff, open, but your octave key. So we're going to hit that guy. Our lowest note Our lowest note is going to be F sharp, okay? And or just for giggles, we might throw in a D sharp in there. It's part of one of the ad libs, okay? But other than that, it's real simple. Make sure you practice that scale before you attempt this song. Because if you don't know the scale, you're going to be spending too much time trying to remember what notes are in the scale versus actually trying to remember what notes are in the song. But see, if I know the scale, I know what notes are in the scale. So when I play the song, I know what notes are available to me, okay? So it is very important, but before you attempt to learn any song, you need to know the scale that it's based off of, okay? So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, so we go. So instead of opening up with the first verse, we opened up with her humming, okay? So here we go. So first intro line. Alright, so that's a pretty melodic, that's a pretty simple line. So here we have a lot of situational fingering in this key. So in this particular key, as we know, we have B flat, or I'm sorry, A sharp. A sharp usually 1, 2, and your side key, right? What I do primarily, it depends on what I'm doing. I use B flat, which is of course one of your small key right there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have another video available showing more about this key and that thing. But also in this key, I use 1 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just 1 and 5, and then those two fingers will give you the same note. So generally, if I'm jumping like from F sharp to A sharp, or F sharp to B flat, if you will, just for make sure everybody understand what I'm saying. If you're jumping from F sharp to A sharp, I'm going to go F sharp 1, 2, 3, 5. And I'm going to let go 2 and 3, and there's my A sharp. This B flat finger is more useful when you're going from G sharp, A flat, when we go from G sharp to A sharp. That's better than going like this. So what I'm doing is I'm saving us from doing this right here. Pinky and the third finger, and then swapping out for that. So that's going to slow you down. So with B flat, which is right here, that's all we're doing. That's the left hand, okay? All right, so intro line one more time. And so that G sharp, the A sharp, that G sharp is like a grace note. I mean, honestly, it's so slight that you can leave it out. If you want to start just fresh on the A sharp, fine. Something that I don't do often is, in this particular instance, we have an A sharp followed by B. So when you play B flat, that's just what the fingering is called. Although we're talking A sharp, that's just the name of the literal finger we're using. Okay, let me show you. So when you play a B flat and you have to go to B natural afterward, you simply bring your first finger off that small key. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. So that G sharp, A sharp, B. So this works well coming from A sharp to B natural, but it doesn't work well going the other way around because you have to make sure you lift that first finger up high enough to cover it. So generally that's a one-way street. So going A sharp to B natural, you can slide your finger up to get off of that. But if you was going the other way around, I would go from 1 to 5. That's a smoother transition than trying to hold down one key and grab another at the same time, okay? So, again, intro line, line 1. So, that first A sharp, I am playing B flat. But that second A sharp, I'm playing 1 and 5, okay? So that second A sharp, I am playing 1 and 5. And then that last A sharp, I'm playing B flat again. So we got a lot of that. That's getting this mechanism down and this key itself, that's the hardest part about this song. If you can conquer this key, you got this song, okay? And honestly, if you're going to learn this key and you want to learn the song in this key, I think this is actually a pretty good song to do it to. It's nice, it's slow, it's melodic, it's smooth. It's not a whole lot of jumps. So this is a very friendly key this is a very friendly song to learn how to play something in this key, okay? So don't give up on this, all right? It's easy. Let's get it. All right, introduction, line 2. Here we go. So in this instance, I mean, yes, you can start off on that B flat for that A sharp, but I just went ahead and go 1 and 5 because I'm using 1 and 5 for that A sharp. The first one, we're going up to B and we're coming right back down. So why not just go da da da? You know what I mean? All they do is basically flicking this one finger, okay? We got 1 and 5, then B natural is 1, and then A sharp again is 1 and 5. Then we go down to G sharp. And of course we know F sharp. Remember, E sharp is F natural. Alright? E sharp is F natural. Let's do it. So now let's play the entire introductory lines. 1 and 2. Here we go. Alright, so that's the intro that Rihanna hums, okay? Or maybe it's the background singing something. I'm not entirely sure, but you get my point. Alright, so this song does not have a typical verse, chorus, verse 2, chorus 2, bridge, chorus 3 format. It's kind of, just keep it simple. I'm going to just say verse 1, verse 2, verse 3. And some of it is pretty repetitive, or it may have minor differences. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we got verse 1, line 1. Pretty simple. Verse 1, line 2. See right there, I'm using 1 and 5 on that A sharp. Verse 1, line 3. So you can use, really right there for that A sharp, you can use either one. Sometimes I mean just subconsciously I use 1 and 5 sometimes, but B flat actually works well right there. But just remember when you come back down off the C sharp that you don't want to push your the small key down, okay? One more time, verse 1, line 3. Alright. Verse 1, line 4. Okay? And honestly, those, for the most part, those first 4 lines are the exact same in all 3 verses. Okay? For the most part. There's minor differences. Alright, so verse 1, line 5. So don't let those E sharps trip you up. Remember, that's F natural, okay? One more time. Verse 1, line 5. Verse 1, line 6. Okay? Alright, so this next part, verse 1, line 7, 8, and 9, is she kind of, these are actually one musical idea, but I split it up into 3 parts. So the 7, 8, 9. So alright, so line 7 by itself. So that's pretty easy. So right there, I'm using 1 and 5 the whole time. Right there, okay? So verse 1, line 8. So on the first A sharp, I am using 1 and 5. But on the second one, we got A sharp, G sharp, G sharp. I'm using B flat right there, okay? And lastly, verse 1, line 9. So there you see we have D sharp and low C sharp in parentheses. Really, really, when I first listened to this, it sounded like she was only doing D sharp. But listening to it now, I want to say I hear a little C sharp in there. But because it's just fall notes, you really can get away with leaving them off. Especially you playing these low notes, you playing them pretty quick too. So they might be a bit difficult to pull off. So for that last line, you could just go. Could stop doing that. It's perfectly fine. But if you want to add a little more flavor to it, let's put that D sharp and that little C sharp on it. Alright? So that's what Now the hard part about that is going from D sharp to C sharp. Just the pinky maneuver of it. But as long as you got that, your horn is adjusted okay. You should be alright on that. Other than the breath support to get it out. So line 9 again. Alright, so one more time, let's put it all together. 7, 8, 9. Just another tip right there on that last line. So what you could do when you play G sharp right there, instead of just holding your left pinky on your G sharp, if you're endeavoring to get that C sharp out, what I would recommend doing is when you play G sharp, go ahead and press your low C sharp key down then. Okay? Press it down then. It's going to sound just the same. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to play B flat for the A sharp. You're going to play G sharp with the C sharp key down. And while you're playing your F sharp, you still got your pinky down. Well, you can leave it down, you can lift it up. But at least, when you leave it down, lift it up, keep your left pinky on that C sharp. And so, when you come down F sharp, D sharp, when you transition to that C, your left pinky is already in place. Okay? Let me move a little closer so you can see. So you got A sharp, I'm playing B flat. When I come down to G sharp, I'm on my C sharp. Then F sharp, then I still got it down. You come up if you want to. D sharp, and when I come down to that C sharp, my left pinky is already on that C sharp. I'm sorry, it's a little dark in here. A little dark right there, so you can't see when I come close to the camera. All right, so that's how I'm able to pull that off. Okay, little shortcut keys. All right, but again, the D sharp and the C sharp just for flavor. You don't have to do that. Okay. All right, so verse 2. So verse 2, the first 6 lines of verse 2 is actually the exact same as what we did in verse 1. So take the same notes and techniques that we did in verse 1, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and apply them to verse 2, and you got verse 2. So I'm not gonna play it again because it sounds exactly the same. So you're essentially just playing verse 1 line verse 1 line 1 through 6 twice. Okay? It doesn't change at all. All right, so verse 2, lines 7, 8, and 9. It is a little different from verse 1, 7, 8, and 9. So let me play it together all at once, then we'll break it down one line by line. Here we go. So that's all we got there. So line 2, verse 2, line 7. So that whole time I am using 1 and 5. I am using 1 and 5. So that whole time I am using 1 and 5. And it's pretty simple. Just we got a D sharp in it this time. Nothing too crazy, all right? So then we go up to high A sharp. Now right there I am using B flat to go to that C sharp. Pretty straightforward once you got the fingering right. But then we come back to verse 2, line 9. I'm playing B flat again because we're going to G sharp. And if you want to get a little fancy, throw a little flavor in there, we got a D sharp right there. Alright? Pretty easy, right? Let's keep it moving. Alright, let's go. Verse 3. Verse 3 is very similar to the previous verses as well. However, Rihanna does like a few little ad-libs over the main melody which her and the background singers were singing before. Okay? So it's not drastically different. In fact, if you was playing this song live, because how this not to be insulting, but because how repetitive it is, you actually could get away with playing just that verse 1, the beginning, first 4 lines, you could just do that over again. You really could. But just ease your curiosity, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Because verse 3, line 1 is different. Line 2 is the same, line 3 is different, and line 4 is the same. So what we're really learning is 2 new lines, and those 2 new lines right here is line 1 and line 3. So let's go ahead and get into it. Verse 3, line 1, which is an ad lib. So it goes, and I'm using Bisbee flat on this first one. So I'm actually using Bisbee flat on both of those A sharps. Okay. Pretty simple, right? So then it goes to hold me down. So verse 3, line 3. So right there on the first A sharp, I am using Bisbee flat. On the second A sharp, I'm using 1 and 5. Okay. Then we got verse 3, line 4. All right. So verse 3, line 5 and 6 are actually the same as 5 and 6 from the previous 2 verses. So I'll play them again, but I'll play them again just for sound's sake, okay? All right, so I'm gonna play lines, verse 3, lines 5 through 8. Here we go. So line 5, line 6, where I've done that before, right? So we got that. Line 7, still pretty easy. So right there, of course, we are using Bisbee flat on the A flat, all right? Now, line 8. So we're starting on high B. On that first A sharp, I'm using 1 and 5. On that second A sharp, I'm using Bisbee flat. Bisbee flat is best used when you're going from G sharp to A sharp, or if we speak in other keys, from G flat to if you're in a situation, I'm speaking saxophone in general now. If you're in any situation going from A flat to B flat, or G natural to B flat, that's when Bisbee flat works very, very well. Okay? Or if we was in a key where we had a C natural. If we was in a key where we had a C natural, that Bisbee flat works wonderfully. Right there, Bisbee flat works when you go into B flat to D. So Bisbee flat works well in those applications, or in most keys. But this is the only key that I actually favor another B flat over Bisbee flat, and that's 1 and 5. This is maybe one of 2 keys that I actually prefer 1 and 5 over Bisbee flat, because we got some intervals like we going from A sharp, or B flat rather, to F sharp. In that application, Bisbee flat does not work better than 1 and 5, or if it was going up. All right. So, yeah. So you got it. So verse 3, line 8. So take some time to chew on that. All right. So we'll call this next section the outro section. Outro section, line 1. Here we go. So we got that E sharp right there, which is F natural, right? That's really, other than that, we really haven't seen a whole lot of E sharp in this song, but it's there though, right? It's there in the key. So one more time, outro line 1. All right, here we go. Outro line 2. All right, so I'm gonna slow it down because we get a little hairy toward the end. Then the high G sharp to F sharp. Then the second time we go from G sharp to E sharp, which is of course F natural. And then we go. So I have that E in the parentheses. That's an E natural. So that E natural is a grace note going into that F natural, which is of course E sharp. So I have that E natural as a grace note going into the E sharp. Then we go down to C sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and of course on that A sharp I am using bis B flat in that scenario. All right, so take your time with that. If that E natural is throwing you, leave it out. Play like this. So I left that. So that's just the last part of that. So if I want to put that E natural back in there. Without it. Oh, and just something I just happen to be doing right here. I'll put it in here. You got A sharp in parentheses at the end of this phrase. But again, with that E natural, that grace note E natural. So lead us if you can do it, great. If not, hey, it's no sweat. It still sounds good without it, but just a little more flavor. You got it, all right? So let's get again outro line 2 whole thing. All right, let's keep it moving. Okay, outro line 3. So we're starting on E sharp or F natural. All right, so in that scenario, that high A sharp of the B part of this phrase, I am using 1 and 5. So for the first section, I'm using bis B flat right there. But for the high part, I'm using 1 and 5. Now remember, bis B flat is cool. It's cool if you're starting on A sharp or you're starting on G sharp. But because we have a B first, again, it's hard to hold down that B and bring the tip of your finger over on that small key. So the only time generally we want to slide between B and A sharp is when we're going from A sharp to B. When we're coming off the small key, not going to. We don't go to it. All right? Okay, so now, outro, line 4. Start on that high A sharp. And this time I'm using bis B flat, all right? So it's the same phrase twice, all right? So, pretty simple. And then outro line 5, the first part continues that same phrase. So in that scenario, the beginning section of line 5 is the same as line 4. But the last part, you got an E natural going to an E sharp as a grace note and C sharp. So all we playing is E sharp, which is F natural, C sharp. So if I left out the grace notes, but if I put the E natural grace notes back in it, so I'm gonna put outro line 4 and line 5 together. All right, so that's how that works together. All right, so outro line 6. All right, so we got E natural grace notes in there still, okay? I mean, really, and if you're familiar with the scale at this point, this is really just a stepwise motion. Minus that C sharp going to A sharp in the last part right there. And then and on that A sharp, I am using bis B flat, okay? Alto line 6 again. Alright, for the last line of the song, we end on. Alright, so guys, so with that being said right there, I am using 1 and 5 on that first A sharp, and on that second A sharp, I'm using 1 and 5 as well. So, yo, I'll be honest with you. First of all, guys, that's the song. If you got it, that's the song, alright? That's the song. Like I said, this song was incredibly easy, melodically, rhythmically, but it's just this key itself is so challenging. Because now, don't beat yourself up if you can't. I don't remember which A sharp to use. Honestly, the more time you spend in that key, it'll just start coming to you naturally. When I play in the key of when I play in this key, I really hardly ever think about which one I'm going to use. I've just been doing it long enough to where, you know, kind of like autopilot. Think about it when you first learn how to drive. When you first learn how to drive, you're very rigid. You're on the steering wheel like this, and you're looking straight ahead. If you look over to the right of the billboard, you'll start swerving. You look over to the left, you'll swerve a little bit. If you take your focus off what is in front of you, you'll find yourself drifting. But then when you get more experience, you get a little more comfortable. Somehow you end up taking one hand off the wheel, or you might even have your hand one hand at the bottom of the wheel now. And you can look around, be more aware of your surroundings, and you're on autopilot. Or if you know, especially if, you know, I mean, I know there might be kids watching this, but but as far as those of us who drive, you know, just like driving from home to work, you don't have to think about what street to take when they come to get home to work, because you've probably been doing it long enough where you can get off from work and not even be thinking about the house, but you'll still arrive home. So it's in the back of your mind because you've probably been doing it so long. So my point is, when it comes to this key, don't try to beat yourself up. If you can, I can't remember when to use A sharp when it comes to playing other songs in this key. But just get this key down. I encourage anybody to learn to play any instrument, any melodic instrument, or tonal instrument rather. Make sure you learn all your major scales, because if you learn all your major scales, you really have the core foundation to learn any songs, even if it's in a minor key. Because as long as you know the relative major, you can tackle any minor key as well, no problem. All right, so get that key under your fingers. This song would be easy. Of course, work on making it sound smooth, okay? Work on making it sound smooth. And guys, I hope this tutorial has been very helpful for you. I did enjoy learning this song because prior to doing this tutorial, I did not know, I had not attempted to play this song. And so I had no idea it was in such a difficult key. Okay? So, but work it out. You can do it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Comment below. If you have any other requests, you can hit me up at saxjriley@gmail.com. And if I wasn't clear on something, please let me know. I hope that I was. But with that being said, this has been saxophonist Jamal Riley with the Sounds of You, and I'll check you guys in the next video. All right, peace.